She asked a hotel attendant for a phone charger, told them to come back in 15 minutes. When they returned, the door was locked. The lights were off, and Ashlee Smalls was found suspended, barely alive. This is not a Netflix series. This is real. And the more you dig into this story, the less any of it makes sense. Because here's the thing, Ashlee had a fiancé, a wealthy fiancé, a so-called millionaire CEO who was right there in Zanzibar with her, and yet, her father had to launch a GoFundMe just to bring her body home. So today, we're going through every single detail, every contradiction, every unanswered question, because something about this story is not adding up, and people deserve to know the truth. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you've been following this case, you already know the basics.
Now, I got 2 emails today from the embassy in Zanzibar. They said the investigation is...
But new details keep surfacing, and every single one of them raises more questions than answers. First, Joe McCann's ex-wife has come forward, and she's not holding back. She's calling him aggressive and broke, not struggling, broke. When you hear that, you immediately start rethinking everything you thought you knew about this man. Then there's the hotel, a luxury resort in Zanzibar, the kind of place that has cameras everywhere, and yet, no surveillance footage has been released. None, not a single frame. Now here's where things start to get really strange. Ashlee's family, her father specifically, launched a GoFundMe for $50,000 to cover the cost of transporting her body home, travel expenses, funeral arrangements, and the family is even traveling to Zanzibar themselves because they don't trust the process. Meanwhile, Ashlee's fiancé, the man who called himself a millionaire CEO, has not stepped up to cover a single dollar of this. Let that sink in, and it gets worse. Joe didn't even contact Ashlee's family until 11 hours after the incident. 11 hours. He gave them barely any details and then went almost completely silent. The family only got confirmation of Ashlee's death from the hotel, not from Joe, from the hotel. And here's one detail that's been haunting me since I first heard it, before everything went wrong. Ashlee asked a hotel attendant for a phone charger. Why was her phone dead? Was she trying to call someone? Was she trying to record something? Because that charger request, that tiny detail, might be the most important clue in this entire story. Now let's back up, because before any of this happened, there was a fight. Ashlee and Joe had a serious argument the night of the incident. A heated argument. Serious enough that the two of them were separated into different hotel rooms. Think about that. You're on what's supposed to be a romantic luxury vacation in Zanzibar with your fiancé, and you end up in separate rooms because of a blowout fight. Now the question is, what was that fight about? Based on the ex-wife's allegations about Joe's aggressive behavior, was this a what-I'm thing? Or was this a pattern? Was this the final explosion after months of buildup? And here's what nobody's talking about enough. The hotel staff was there. They saw what was happening. They heard things. They know things. And yet we're hearing almost nothing from them publicly. Someone at that hotel knows exactly what went down that night. The question is, are they being allowed to talk? So who exactly is Joe McCann? Because here's where the story gets a whole new layer. Joe was previously married. Whether they're officially divorced, that's actually still unclear. But between 2021 and 2024, his social media is full of posts featuring his wife and kids, photos, tags, the whole picture-perfect family image. And publicly, Joe has actually used the line "my wife is black" as some kind of defense or deflection during arguments online, which tells you a lot about how he uses the people in his life as props for his image. But now his ex-wife is speaking out. But the fact that it's being whispered, that alone tells you people around Joe have a very different story to tell than the one he puts on social media. Okay, let's talk about money, because this is where the contradictions become impossible to ignore. Joe McCann presents himself as a CEO. His company is called Asymmetric Financial. He name-drops connections to major investors, including Mark Andreessen, one of the most powerful names in Silicon Valley. On the surface, this man looks loaded. But here's what people are saying behind the scenes. Joe reportedly lost 80% of his wealth in crypto. 80% gone. So how is he affording a luxury Zanzibar resort? How is he living this lifestyle? And then there's Ashlee. She reportedly ran a successful business, but after her death...
Now, I got 2 emails today from the embassy in Zanzibar. They said the investigation is still ongoing. They have not determined the cause of death yet at all. An investigation is still ongoing and still pending right now. So there has nothing official has been released. That's what we're trying to find out. We just want answers. We think it's very odd that our daughter traveling with Joe and we don't hear anything from Joe. To me, that's very odd. And initial call that she got from Joe was 11 hours after something had transpired in the room. And that's very odd. 11 hours.
No money was found, none, which has led to two very uncomfortable theories. Either someone took that money, or the successful business was more of an image than a reality. Because here's what nobody wants to say out loud but everyone is thinking. Ashlee's name was on the hotel booking. She booked the room, which means either she paid for it, or she had the credit line, which raises a question that flips this entire story upside down. Was Joe McCann financially dependent on Ashlee? Now here's where things get really dark. Multiple people, including the ex-wife, are alleging that Joe's millionaire image is exactly that. An image built on credit, built on investors' money, built on, and this is the allegation being whispered, the income of the women in his life. A fake persona. Designer trips funded by other people's money. The CEO title with nothing real behind it. And then there's the question of life insurance. The theory goes like this: take out a life insurance policy, make a very public proposal, plan a luxury trip abroad, and then tragedy strikes. There's just one major problem with that theory. Most life insurance policies don't pay out for suicide. So if the official finding leaned that direction, financially, it wouldn't help him at all, which either breaks the theory entirely, or means the goal was for it to not look like suicide. I'll let you sit with that one. Let's go back to that night, because we need to walk through this slowly. A hotel attendant encounters Ashlee in the hallway or at the door. She asks for a phone charger. Seems normal enough, right? Except she tells them to come back in 15 minutes. Not now. 15 minutes? Why 15 minutes? What did she need to do first? Was she in the middle of a call? Was she hiding something? Was she afraid of something? When the attendant returned, the door was locked. The lights were off. They used a spare key to enter. And where is that phone now? Here's the thing about luxury resorts in Zanzibar. They have cameras. Lots of them. Lobbies, hallways, elevators, pathways between buildings, entrances and exits. These places are covered. So where is the footage? Ashlee's father is demanding answers. He's asking for the surveillance tapes. And so far, nothing has been released. Not a single frame showing who went where, when, and what happened in the hours before Ashlee was found. Now here's where the speculation gets very serious. There is a theory, and again, this is what people are alleging, not confirmed fact, that footage exists. But that has been tampered with, or removed. And Zanzibar has, unfortunately, a documented history of allegations around bribery of local authorities. If someone with money, or connections to money, wanted something to disappear in that jurisdiction, is it possible? That's the question Ashlee's family is living with right now. So what's actually happening officially? Tanzanian authorities did question Joe. His passport was held, meaning he couldn't just leave the country. Where was Joe during those 15 minutes between Ashlee asking for the charger and being found unconscious? What was Ashlee trying to do with a charged phone in those final moments? Have the ex-wife's allegations and the financial claims been formally submitted to investigators? And where is the CCTV footage? Ashlee Smalls deserved better. Her family deserves answers. And the truth, whatever it is, deserves to come out. This case is far from over, and we will be watching every single development. But right now, I want to know what you think. Do you think Joe McCann is hiding something? Do you think the investigation is being handled properly? And what do you make of that phone charger detail? Because that one has been living rent-free in my head. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about this, because Ashlee's story deserves to be heard, shared, and not forgotten. If you're new here, subscribe, because we cover stories like this with the depth they actually deserve. Share this video with someone who needs to know about this case, and until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and never stop asking questions.